An 82-year-old man lies dying in a California hospital. His lungs are failing. His body is shutting down. His family is desperate to reach him, but they're not allowed inside. Hospital restrictions keep them away. And so, the man who spent his entire life fighting for others takes his final breath completely alone. His name was Tom Laughlin. He was the creator of Billy Jack, a character so powerful it became a symbol of an entire generation's struggle for justice. His films earned nearly $200 million. He ran for president twice. He challenged Hollywood studios head-on and won. He survived a diagnosis of inoperable cancer against all odds. And through every battle, every risk, every rebellion, one person stood beside him: Dolores Taylor, his wife of nearly 60 years, his co-star, his partner, his everything. But what happened next is the part no one saw coming. Years after Tom died alone in that hospital room, dementia slowly erased Dolores's world. The films, the causes, the man she had loved since 1954, all gone. Their ending was heartbreakingly cruel, but their story is one that must be told. Because Tom Laughlin didn't just play a hero, he lived like one. His journey, from a troubled boy in Milwaukee to a Hollywood maverick who made studios fear him, reveals the true cost of standing up when the world tells you to sit down. Tom Laughlin was born on August 10, 1931, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. From the very beginning, he stood apart. While other kids played in the streets, Tom wrote plays. While his classmates focused on one path, Tom excelled at everything. At Washington High School, he became a standout football player, talented enough to earn a scholarship to the University of Wisconsin. But even then, the stage kept calling him. He performed in drama productions and captivated audiences with a presence that felt natural and commanding. That rare mix of physical toughness and artistic sensitivity would shape his entire life. After transferring to Marquette University, Laughlin continued shining on the football field as a safety and halfback. But something deeper was stirring. One night, he watched a production of A Streetcar Named Desire, and it changed everything. The power of that performance struck him like a revelation. Acting wasn't just something he enjoyed, it was something he needed. Then, everything fell apart. During his sophomore year, Laughlin got into a fight and was expelled from Marquette. For most people, it would have been the end of the road. For Tom Laughlin, it became the turning point. With football gone, he committed fully to his true passion. He transferred to the University of South Dakota, where he studied radio acting, directing, and producing. And there, far from Hollywood glamour, he met the woman who would change his life forever. Dolores Taylor was born on September 27, 1932, in Winter, South Dakota. Raised near a Native American reservation, her early experiences shaped a worldview that would later influence their work together. She dreamed of becoming a graphic designer until she met Tom, frantic. They connected through a shared love of storytelling and performance. On October 15, 1954, they married, beginning a partnership that would last nearly 6 decades. After finishing his education, Laughlin headed to Hollywood in the late 1950s, armed with talent, ambition, and harsh reality. Rejection came fast and often. He auditioned relentlessly, landing only small television roles on shows like Climax and forgettable film appearances in South Pacific and The Young Lion. Nothing that showcased his real ability, nothing that mattered. Hollywood didn't need another actor who could read lines. Laughlin wanted to create characters, stories with purpose, but no one was giving him that chance. For years, he struggled. Steady work was rare. Money was tight. Most actors would have quit and gone home. Tom Laughlin refused. In 1960, he took control. He wrote, directed, and starred in an independent film called The Young Sinner, a gritty story about juvenile delinquency. Shot in Milwaukee in just 14 days. The reviews were mixed, but the message was clear. Tom Laughlin was done waiting. If Hollywood wouldn't give him leading roles, he would create them himself. If studios wouldn't open doors, he would break them down. That stubborn refusal to accept limits placed on him by anyone would define everything that followed, and it would eventually lead him to create something that changed American cinema forever. But the path to Billy Jack began in a place no one would ever expect. A quiet town in South Dakota, where Tom Laughlin witnessed something that would abide with him for the rest of his life. In 1954, while visiting Dolores's hometown, Laughlin saw firsthand how Native Americans were treated. The discrimination, the casual cruelty, the way people looked straight through them as if they didn't exist at all. It enraged him. That anger turned into purpose, and purpose turned into writing. From that pain, a character was born, Billy Jack, half Navajo, half white, a former Green Beret with an unbreakable moral code, a deep sense of justice, and the martial arts skills to enforce it when words failed. Laughlin poured everything into that screenplay. His fury at a broken system, his belief that one person could still make a difference, and his conviction that some battles are worth fighting, no matter the cost. Hollywood wanted nothing to do with it. The studios rejected the script again and again. Too political, too controversial, too dangerous. Billy Jack was shelved, left to gather dust in a drawer for more than a decade. Then, in 1967, Laughlin found a way in. He made a low-budget biker film called The Born Losers. The premise was simple. Billy Jack steps in to protect a group of young women terrorized by a violent motorcycle gang. The movie was made for almost nothing, and expectations were low. But audiences surprised everyone. The Born Losers went on to earn more than $12 million, an enormous success given its tiny budget. Hollywood suddenly took notice, but Laughlin had no interest in playing by their rules anymore. In 1971, he finally released Billy Jack, and this time, he went all in. Set in a small Arizona town, the film follows Billy Jack as he defends a group of pacifist hippies from harassment by the town's wealthy and powerful elite. It confronted racism, police brutality, and the mistreatment of Native American children with a blunt honesty mainstream cinema had never dared attempt. Getting the film released was a fight of its own. American International Pictures initially agreed to distribute it, then demanded cuts, remove the politics, eliminate the nudity, tone it down. Laughlin refused. When the studio wouldn't back down, he withheld the sound rights, essentially turning the film into a silent movie that couldn't be screened. It was a bold, risky move that could have destroyed everything. Eventually, he struck a deal with Warner Brothers. But when Laughlin felt the studio wasn't marketing the film properly, he sued them and re-released the movie himself in 1973. The gamble paid off beyond anyone's imagination. Billy Jack became a cultural phenomenon, earning over $98 million worldwide. Adjusted for inflation, it remains one of the highest-grossing independent films of all time. The theme song, One Tin Soldier, became an anthem of the counterculture, climbing into the top 40 on the Billboard Hot 100. Laughlin later said that, at the time, young Americans had only two heroes, Ralph Nader and Billy Jack. And through it all, Dolores was right there beside him. Her role grew from a minor appearance in The Born Losers to John Roberts, Billy Jack's love interest and moral center. Her performance was groundbreaking, a strong, principled woman standing for peace and justice in a world that rewarded neither. The role earned Dolores a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress in a Drama. The story continued with The Trial of Billy Jack in 1974, which pushed even further into themes of Native American rights and social justice. Critics were merciless, but audiences didn't care. The film grossed $89 million worldwide. That divide between critics and viewers became a defining pattern in Laughlin's career. He wasn't making films for the establishment. He was making them for the people the establishment ignored. Together, Tom and Dolores Laughlin proved something Hollywood didn't want to admit. You didn't need the studio system to reach America. You just needed a story worth telling, and the courage to tell it your way. But success brought new challenges. And Tom Laughlin was never one to sit still. The same fire that gave birth to Billy Jack soon pushed him beyond filmmaking into arenas where the stakes were even higher. Because success didn't satisfy Tom Laughlin, it fueled him. The man who created Billy Jack didn't just want to make movies. He wanted to change the world, and he chased that goal with the same unrelenting determination that defined his entire life. In 1977, Laughlin released Billy Jack Goes to Washington, a bold reimagining inspired by the Frank Capra classic, this time placing his iconic character inside the halls of the United States Senate. The film examined political corruption and the near impossibility of creating real change within a system already broken. But the release was plagued by distribution problems, and the movie failed to resonate with audiences the way the earlier films had. The Billy Jack era was fading. Laughlin's activism, however, was only beginning. In 1992, he ran for President of the United States. His platform centered on campaign finance reform, tax reform, and ending the war on drugs. He ran again in 2004, championing the same causes. He never came close to winning, but winning was never the point. Laughlin understood something many politicians never grasped. Sometimes the true power of a campaign lies not in victory, but in forcing conversations no one else is willing to start. Beyond politics, Tom and Dolores had already left a lasting mark on education. In 1959, they founded a Montessori preschool in Santa Monica, California. Their child-centered approach to learning was far ahead of its time. By 1964, the school had grown into the largest Montessori program in the United States, earning national attention, including a feature in Time magazine. Among its students was Christian Brando, the son of Tom's close friend, Marlon Brando. Yet, despite its success, the school collapsed in 1965, going bankrupt. It was a pattern that would repeat throughout Laughlin's life, visionary ideas colliding with harsh financial reality. His activism extended deep into Hollywood itself. In 1984, Laughlin purchased a series of 12 full-page ads in Variety, publicly condemning the film industry for its treatment of independent filmmakers. He accused studios of suffocating creativity through commercialism and monopolizing distribution. He even proposed a detailed blueprint for independent filmmakers to take control of home video distribution and bypass the studio system altogether. The plan failed, but once again, Laughlin was simply ahead of his time. The ideas he outlined would later become standard practice in the age of streaming and digital distribution. Through all of this, the Laughlin family remained tightly bonded. Tom and Dolores raised 3 children, Frank, Teresa, and Christina. Despite constant battles on multiple fronts, Tom prioritized family. He instilled in his children the same creativity and integrity that guided his own life. The Laughlin household was a place where artistic expression and social consciousness weren't optional. They were expected. But behind the public image of a fearless maverick were struggles the world never saw. Tom Laughlin lived with bipolar disorder for much of his life. The condition brought extreme mood swings, periods of intense energy and creativity, followed by devastating lows. It affected his relationships, his work, and his health. As an independent filmmaker carrying enormous financial risk, the pressure only intensified the strain. In 1985, Laughlin began production on a 5th film titled The Return of Billy Jack, which would have followed the character battling child pornographers in New York City. Then everything fell apart. During filming, Laughlin suffered a concussion and a serious neck injury. Production was halted while he recovered. During the shutdown, funding dried up. The film was never completed. For the next 20 years, Laughlin tried desperately to bring the project back to life. In 1996, he publicly spoke about searching for new financing. By 2008, the project had evolved into Billy Jack for President, a reimagined concept that would use archived speeches and digital effects to stage a fictional debate between Billy Jack and President George W. Bush. None of it ever came to fruition. And with that, the last chapter of Billy Jack quietly faded. leaving behind a legacy of rebellion, ambition, and unfinished dreams. In 2001, Tom Laughlin received devastating news. He had been diagnosed with cancer of the tongue, and it was deemed inoperable. Although his website later stated that the cancer entered remission, his health continued to deteriorate in the years that followed. The man who once embodied an unbreakable on-screen hero was growing increasingly fragile. The fortune earned from the Billy Jack films was long gone. Years of legal battles, unrealized projects, and mounting medical expenses had taken their toll. Financial instability, something that had shadowed Laughlin since his earliest days in Hollywood, never truly disappeared. Independence had given him creative freedom, but it also left him without the safety net that studio backing might have provided. As time passed, his dream of making one final Billy Jack film drifted further out of reach. The funding never materialized. His health never recovered, and the industry that once feared him now seemed to have forgotten him. Still, he refused to give up. That was who Tom Laughlin was, a fighter to the very end. But even fighters eventually run out of time. In his final years, Laughlin developed serious respiratory complications. His lungs, weakened by age and illness, struggled to function. On December 12, 2013, he was admitted to Los Robles Hospital and Medical Center in Thousand Oaks, California, suffering from complications related to pneumonia. His condition worsened rapidly. He was placed on life support as his body began to shut down. His family rushed to be with him, but hospital restrictions prevented them from being at his bedside during his final hours. The man who had spent his life fighting for justice and human connection was denied both at the end. When life support was withdrawn, Tom Laughlin died alone. He was 82 years old. Later, his daughter described him as a true American maverick, a fitting tribute to a man who never once chose the easy path. Dolores Taylor survived her husband by nearly 5 years. But those years were marked by a different kind of tragedy. Dementia slowly erased her memories, the lines she once delivered with precision, the films she helped create, and the man she had loved for almost 6 decades. The disease that claimed her mind also took away her memories of Tom. On March 23, 2018, Dolores Taylor passed away at the age of 85. Together, Tom and Dolores left behind 3 children and a body of work that challenged audiences to rethink justice, equality, and the courage required to stand up for what is right. The Billy Jack films were far from perfect. Critics had plenty to say, but audiences understood something critics often missed. These films spoke to people who felt invisible. They gave voice to the unheard. Tom Laughlin didn't just create a character, he created a movement. He proved that one person, with enough conviction, could challenge systems that seemed untouchable. And beside him through every step was Dolores Taylor. Not just his wife, but his collaborator, his conscience, and his greatest supporter. Their ending wasn't the one they deserved. Hospital restrictions, dementia, loneliness at the end. Time cruelly stripping away what they built together. But their story, the story of 2 people from the Midwest who challenged Hollywood, challenged America, and never stopped fighting for what they believed in, endures. And maybe that is the true legacy of Tom and Dolores Laughlin. Not the money, not the awards, not even the films that defined a generation, but the reminder that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they refuse to back down, when they keep fighting, even when the odds are stacked against them, and when they choose to love each other through decades of triumph, loss, and everything in between. Are you a fan of Tom Laughlin and the Billy Jack films? Do you think any actor today has the courage and creativity to build an iconic character the way he did? Let us know in the comments. And if this story moved you, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what comes next.